Purpose is a new stage comedy that's been reviewed as Steppenwolf at its best.
Matt and I saw this, and we just thought it was riveting.
Awesome.
And it doesn't hurt that it's directed by two-time Tony winner Phylicia Rashad and features stars of the TV screen. We welcome Harry Lennox and Tamara Tooney. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, bravo.
All the praise, all the flowers. We really loved this play.
This is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, it's 3 hours.
Yeah,
we were looking
right.
at the thing.
It's 3
and
hours.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
It went by like that.
Yeah.
Laughing, the whole audience was there. Did you feel that night? It was opening night.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
it's so interesting that you introduced it as comedy, because when we were working on it, we had no idea it was funny until until we got an audience in front of us. For real. I mean, we were looking at this as a family drama.
Yes.
And there is a lot of drama. But there is definitely a healthy amount of humor. So
In a beautiful way, too.
Yes.
The
It's
balance
smart.
is
It's very smart.
Very
The
smart.
playwright
humor.
should be, win all the awards.
Hey, Harry,
Yes.
how does it feel to have a hit show in your hometown?
Well, it's been 16 years since I've been on the stage
Yeah.
and 24 since I've been on the stage in Chicago.
Wow.
That long?
Yes, it's been
I
that
didn't
long.
know that.
You
Yeah.
were remembering some lines.
Yeah.
It was like you didn't skip a beat.
There's a lot,
Yeah.
3 hours.
Can we talk about that? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know these are serious monologues.
yeah, when we started this rehearsal process, we only had the first scene of the play. We only had 44 pages.
Really?
And so Brandon was writing as we were rehearsing. And so each week we'd get like the next scene. And so we were all on the edge of our seats and suspense, because no one knew how this play ended. And actually Brandon didn't know how it ended either. He was just writing it, and it was just coming out of him. And so by the time we got to previews, we had just gotten the last scene and we had no time to really rehearse it. So we were rehearsing it pretty much in front of an audience. And
Which helped.
it did.
Yeah.
It really did. It really did. So it was. It's been incredible. It's been.
I hope you are.
Everybody on that stage was fantastic.
Yes.
And this is about a prominent political family. Tell us about your characters.
Brandon was very careful to make sure that we could not point to some specific family. So
Okay, we were wondering that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, but there are elements, of course, that are recognizable and prominent Chicago families. But, for a long time, Chicago was known as the capital of Black America. I don't know if it's still known as that, but if you think about the people who've come out of here, most recently, of course, Barack Obama, of course, the Jacksons, both of whom have been congressmen, the sons of Jesse Jackson, the great Harold Washington, any number of people have to come through Chicago in order to kind of win the hearts of Black America, which has been a bellwether politically, and not just politically, but also spiritually. So my character is a man named Solomon Jasper who wanted to go into politics, did a lot of work in the civil rights movement as a kind of young prodigy, and then wanted to move, but never had his own church per se. And then his wife, of course, the great Tamara Tooney, is representative of the women who have had to sacrifice their own careers to some extent. And I think it's a fairly typical civil rights kind of family. People who were prominent in that movement. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, yes. And Claudine Jasper is, she is one of those mothers who is fierce and protective of her family. And she's an attorney in her own right, as Harry said. She set aside her career in order to be home while her husband was, out speechifying and rallying people to the cause, et cetera, and she was holding it down at home and raising 2 sons. And so she is very much, to me, like my own mother. I mean, I think she represents all mothers in that way, particularly Black mothers who have had to really, be protective of their children in a world that doesn't really embrace or love Black children. So she's very fierce about that.
Fierce is
Yes,
the word
she's fierce
for her.
about
Yes.
that.
I
And
hate to interrupt you here, but
That's
I
okay.
want to get to Phylicia Rashad. What was it like to work with such an icon? And had you before?
Well, to me, she's one of the ingenious actors, really, frankly, in America. Of course, we know her work on The Cosby Show. Everybody knows that. But I don't know if you've had the great pleasure of seeing her on the stage.
I have not.
Oh, my goodness. She played Aunt Esther in a production of Gem of the Ocean. It was a revelation. So her attention to detail, particularly when it comes to working with other actors, she knows our language, and that can be extremely helpful because a lot of times the directors are kind of concerned with their pretty little stage pictures, and that's important.
Yes.
It is a spectacle.
Yes.
But what makes a spectacle really have blood and have soul is what the actors bring to it. I like to think, and it's not original, but the actor is the first artist of the theater. You can have a movie without actors. You can have music,
that's a good
but you
point.
cannot have a play without the actor. And so somebody who knows that language and who treats us accordingly was extraordinarily refreshing.
Well, it
Absolutely.
certainly
And Felicia
shows.
and I have been friends for decades, but we've never worked together. So it's the first time
wow.
we're working together. And I've seen her work as a director in other projects. And so when this was presented, I said, you know, absolutely, I just want to do this. And every day I was thanking her for inviting me to be a part of this process.
You're going to be very thankful, I think.
Are
in the
you
long
two
run.
being recognized around Chicago because you've been on television? 10 seasons of The Blacklist.
10
Wait, 200 plus episodes of Law and Order
Yeah,
SVU.
I lost count.
Listen,
We all knew
my
you from-
husband said, "Oh, you're going to see Melinda today." And I'm like, her name is not really Melinda.
And I grew up with you on As the World Turns.
Yeah. Thank
My
you very
mom
much.
watched that every day.
We were
and
just
then I
talking
got
about that in the
involved.
car,
And
yes.
then
Oh my
our
God.
executive producer said, "Is she from Devil's Advocate?" I'm like,
yes,
"That's
yes.
a deep cut." But yes.
Well, listen, we're so happy to have you here, and thank you for bringing such good theater to our city. It's
Thank you
excellent.
for
It's
having us.
excellent.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.